funny. It's doing something funny, isn't it? Oh, wait, maybe
Good.
it's going. Alright. So,
So I think you wanted, yeah, we were gonna talk about Sparky.
what was your biggest problem in raising him?
I don't know.
He got sick a lot at first, didn't he?
Oh yeah, so I was thinking about talking about, like, how and why and when I first got him.
Okay, so talk.
Okay,
Why
so...
do I need to be here?
for moral support. Okay, so, yeah, so I used to have a guinea pig. My first pet who was, like, mine was my piggy, Shadow. And, when he passed away, I kind of made a bad decision. I kind of impulsively went out and got more guinea pigs. And, he's using his toy. And then, like, a few months after I got them, I just very quickly started to realize that what I needed wasn't guinea pigs. And, yeah, that was a really bad year. And so then I realized I needed a companion animal. And I started to, like, go online and look at different, companion animals. I'd Google companion animals. I found, like, rats. I Googled rat care. And then, like, a year later, I decided to start saving up. And, and so I was looking in different animals, and I narrowed it down to two animals, rats and parrots. And I ended up choosing parrots. It was a tough choice, though. I still like rats. I've never really, I met one very briefly. I've never really known a rat, but they just seem like just amazing animals. And I was going to get off of Craigslist because I looked around and I couldn't find a parrot rescue, which now I know that bird clubs actually do rescuing. A lot of the time, I don't know if it's true for every bird club, but they at least know of rescues in the area, even if they don't do it themselves. Well, I shouldn't say they do it. The members will know of, people who are trying to rehome birds. So, in retrospect, I totally could have gone there, but I didn't know, and I was going to get a bird off Craigslist, and then somebody I know, who's a friend of the family who has birds and has had them a long time, told me that my first bird should be a hand-fed baby. And her reasoning behind this was that a rescue would be too difficult as a first bird. Which, now I know, is absolutely not the case. A lot of people get rescues as their first birds, and there's a lot of really sweet rescues out there. But I was, new to birds, and I didn't really trust my own knowledge, and I just decided to go with that, and because I had wanted to rescue, I didn't know how to find a good breeder. In all the research I'd done on parrot care, I didn't really look up at how to find a good breeder because I wasn't going to get from a breeder. So I let my friend find a breeder, and I asked my mother and father if they could, take me down there, and they just were not interested in helping me get a bird. And so my friend was like, yeah, I can take you down there, but I can only take you down once. And so we went down to the breeder, and there was just so many warning signs along the way that this was not a good breeder, and I ignored them, I think, mostly because I wanted him to be a good breeder.
What were the warning signs?
So, okay. First of all, he told me he weans his birds onto a, kale and corn, and those were the only vegetables he mentioned. Birds should be weaned onto a large variety of vegetables, in part so that they can eat a variety of vegetables, because that's really important, and in part because the more new foods they get to try as a baby, the more likely they'll be, eat new foods, the easier it is to introduce them to new foods. And then on to saltines, which aren't the best thing. They're okay, especially if you have, like, whole wheat unsalted saltines. Yeah, that's fine. But, oh, he's so cute. He's picking up his foot and fluffing up. And then he told me he weans them onto a seed mix, which was one of the biggest warning signs. Like, it probably wasn't the biggest, but birds should not be eating seed mixes. I mean, no, they should be eating seed mixes, but they should be eating pellets as the main part of their diet. Seeds are... he weaned his birds onto seed mixes instead of pellets, not as well as. The other thing that I probably could have known if I had planned to get from a breeder to begin with, he weaned his birds, or was selling his birds at 8 weeks. I got Sparky when he was 8 weeks old, which is kind of young. And I heard later from a pet shop owner who had gotten birds from him that he also force weans his birds, which I believe, I'm not completely sure, but I believe that's when they wean them as young as possible and kind of withhold food and stuff to kind of make it so they have to eat their, solid foods. And then once we got there, we were talking to him, and his bird's wings were clipped way too short, and I didn't know because I had never really spent any time around a clipped bird. His birds fluttered to the floor. That was another warning sign, was that his birds were not tame. They were hand-fed, sure, they were babies, yes, but when he grabbed them in the cage, he didn't ask them to step up, and then he put them in my hand, or put them, the bird in my hands, and the bird fluttered away. And then he didn't even grab the bird with his hands to get it back into my hands. He actually put a net over the bird and then grabbed the birds. These birds were not comfortable being handled. Also, when we were talking to him, he mentioned that he takes his birds to bird marts or bird expos or whatever you want to call them, which is a huge issue because I've heard disease spreads very, very quickly and stuff at those places. And that might have been part of the reason that when I took Sparky home, he was sick. And I should have gotten it in writing, but I did get a health guarantee, which, I think he would have honored, but I didn't get it in writing. But when I took Sparky to the vet to get a wellbird checkup, which, by the way, he told me that I didn't need to do, I didn't forget. I didn't know that I had to bring a poop sample, so I had to go back the next week, and by that time the health guarantee had expired. But I'm absolutely sure that Sparky was sick when I got him. And just a really awful breeder. Sparky was, super scared, like I said. He calmed down really quickly, but he had, very little confidence. Another issue I ran into was feeding him. Like I said, he was weaned onto a seed mix, and I immediately, the second day I got him, I started mixing in pellets to convert him to pellets. But a few days after that, I noticed he was eating a lot in the morning, a little around noon, not much, and barely anything in the evening. And then I realized, I think I, sprinkled some seed mix onto the floor, and that's when I realized that he was only eating the millet in the seed mix, nothing else. I tried offering him, sunflower seeds, cereal. I tried offering him kale eventually. It was a few weeks before I offered him kale. He didn't eat the kale. I've never gotten him to eat kale or corn, which I'm sure the breeder tried to wean him onto those, but I've never gotten him to eat them. Feeding him has always been an issue. So basically, I talked to my vet, and they told me to hand feed him, and until I could get him onto the pellets, because he was still very young. The hand feeding formula was fine for him to eat. It's not so great for older birds because it's so packed with nutrition. It was a pain to get him onto the pellets. Took weeks. He was, I had to give him the antibiotics for, he had avian gastric yeast infection. His wings were clipped too short, which really hurt his confidence. He was not a confident bird when I got him. So what else should I say?
what were some surprises about having a bird? Like, what surprised you when you had them versus when you heard about them?
As I was telling Siona a while ago, it really shocked me the first time he started singing. And I was just like, I was lying in bed, and I remember he was sitting across the room, and he just sang just a few notes. And I, was like, that's not a chirp. He's literally singing. That was shocking.
Microphone was spiked.
Yeah, does that.
It's not supposed to.
Okay, I'll laugh quieter.
Just click this when you laugh.
And definitely, I don't know. I mean, I guess I didn't expect things to be exactly like they were on the YouTube videos, you know what I mean? There was definitely a lot of stuff that I learned after getting him that, like, I guess something that surprised me, I mean, not after getting him, but when learning about birds, was just how much there is to know, and how much, I guess one of the reasons there's so much to know and I keep finding new information and stuff is because not only is it, really, there's tons of different angles of it to it. That's my phone. Okay, we had an interruption, but we're good. So I guess I just need to cap it off. I guess another thing that took me by surprise a little bit was how much trust there is to earn. Like, I knew, like, it takes a while to earn even a tame bird's trust. Like, they can be tame and step up to anyone, but it takes a while for them to really trust you. But, like, even now, I'm working on getting him to let me, like, hold him upside down, and he'll let me hold him upside down for a few seconds, which is, when he's in the good mood, which is something I didn't expect him to do, because cockatiels don't normally go on their back. And I thought that was, I'm sure it's easier with, like, birds like conures that, like, play on their back, but, what was I thinking? Yeah, there's a lot of things that surprised me. Maybe we'll do a part 2. But, that's how I got him, and oh boy, it was a handful the first, month.
I'm surprised that I'm surprised that I learned how to, be in a room with, how to babysit him and know what to do and not, like, panic. Because I know how to, when he's, like, scampering around, I know, flight train him. I know he knows where his food and water is, and if he doesn't have food, I know where it is. And, like, when I first started babysitting him, or Sheva tried to get me to start babysitting him, I was panicking. Like, he was running around and scampering. Okay, I think the problem there, though, was that I needed to get out of the room by a certain time. I could not, and I didn't know how to, quickly get him tired out.
Over the time that we've had him, I've gotten so much better at troubleshooting when he's having a, behavioral problem or whatever. Like, most common one is when he's hyper. It used to be, like, if he was hyper, I didn't know what to do to calm him down. Now we can just, like Sienna said, do flight training with him, and that flight tires him out. Another thing that was a big help was rice cakes. Now, like, when I can't get him in his cage, or when Sienna can't get him in his cage, she just puts a rice cake in there, and it works, like, 90% of the time.
Well, it helps.
It helps. Okay, that's true. And, there's, like, little things, like, if, you put a rice cake in his cage, he's not going to go in there. If you bounce a rice cake for a little while and then put it over to his cage and ask him to step up towards the bouncing rice cake, so he's way more likely to do it.
Yeah.
All that, and here he comes, all that troubleshooting and stuff. Oh.
Nope, he came to
me. There's, I guess, there's always more to learn.
It's so nice not having a time limit.
Yeah. And it's also so nice having a live-in babysitter.
It's so nice being able to babysit.
So if anyone has any other questions about him, they can, like, comment them, or, I don't know, send them to me.
Okay, be real here. Probably nobody's going to comment.
Well, whatever. You can Facebook them to me, because you're probably a friend of mine. There was something else I was thinking. Yeah, that's why whenever somebody says, where did you get him, I feel like I have to give some context, because the truth is, I don't like buying buying birds. There's so many birds that need homes. If you want a bird, there's like rescues stuffed full of these birds. There's people trying to find a home for their bird and aren't able to. And there's some traumatized birds who takes taming and take patience to build their trust. But if you're not into that,
spending your life with them anyway, just like a while of slowly building trust.
Me personally, when I do get another bird, I am interested in taming,
and, they take enough care, just baseline good birds take enough care and research that, like, getting them used to you when they're not used to you, I feel like that should be something you're willing to do.
And another thing for me is that the people who have the skills to tame a super fearful, traumatized bird are going to have much more of the skills to handle behavioral problems that will crop up even in birds that were hand-fed as a baby and you got them as a baby and maybe even hand-fed them yourself. There's still going to be behavioral problems that you're going to have to figure out how to deal with. And it's just good to know how to tame a bird. And another thing is that, not all rescues are traumatized. Like, there seems to be this idea that, like, rescues are from a bad home. And obviously, it's really hard on birds to be rehomed. So, yeah, there is going to be a little bit harder probably than a hand-fed baby. But maybe we'll do another video on reasons to get a rescue, because I feel like there are advantages. Not just cost. I feel like that's a big one that people talk about, is rescue birds are cheaper, which,
You're gonna be spending your whole life with them. That's not,
a good reason, yeah. Yep, shouldn't even be a consideration. So yeah, anyway, we'll end that there. That was pretty long. Alright, I hope you had fun. Bye-bye.